Hey students, let's talk about topologies. This will be quite a big video because there's a lot to cover here. This is part of topic 4, 4.1.8 is the reference for it in the curriculum. Edexcel, GCSE Computer Science. So, in its broadest part, there are three that we need to know. A bus network, a star network, and a mesh network. Okay, those are the three we need to know. We need to know what they look like and what the advantages and disadvantages are of them. So we would also refer to these as topologies. Okay, hence the title here. So let's get started. This is about connecting computers, by the way, in a network. So the bus one is fairly straightforward. We've got a line here. Let's call this. We'll call these terminators. Let's use a different color. Terminator on either end. Terminator, and on each part of here we might have different devices or peripherals. So we could have a server here, we could have a printer, we could have terminals here. So I'm going to put just a little abbreviation, there could be different terminals. So bus networks can be used to connect computers in a small organization. Okay, small small organization, useful for that. All signals are transmitted through a single backbone, kind of like this is the single backbone. Okay, that's just like the backbone of the bus network. There are terminators either end to prevent stray signals bouncing back down the cable, right? What is an advantage of this? Well, we'll put plus and negative. Simple to implement and install, right? They're easy to do. A single cable significantly reduces costs, doesn't it? I mean, just having one cable is really going to be quite easy to install. What could be, well, that also leads to what the disadvantage could be, right? One cable could fail and whole system compromised. Okay, the whole system could be compromised if that single cable fails. Also, the performance degrades quickly if we have more terminators here. The more of these you have, the slower it's going to be. There is a limited sort of transmission rate you can have in cables as well. And data packets collide with each other as they travel both directions down the same cable. They might have to be retransmitted, and also each cable can, each computer, each terminal connected can see. So I'll put each computer can see others' data traveling down. Okay, which could be a security risk. All right, so we've got to be mindful of that. So obviously, it's easy to implement. Simple for very small organisations, it might be helpful, a little business, home business, or something. But there are some significant disadvantages there too. Points of failure. Star networks. Let's have a look at a star network. So a star network is where it kind of, hang on, let's use this. We have what we call a switch, and we have all of our terminals connected off it. And here is our server. These are all the different computers. Switch. And a switch looks like a device, sort of just like this, and I have lots of ports. And these are all the ports that go to the computer, right? So these are very typical. They're most commonly used in businesses where performance and security, okay, performance plus security are important. They're also found in small offices, home networks. Each device on the network is connected to a central switch. And for the purposes of simplicity, it's kind of like your router at home. It kind of works in a similar way to a switch. A switch is just like a bank where you can put loads of devices into it and it can kind of route between them easily. Directs transmissions to the correct device using its MAC addresses. Okay, so if you've got like a printer, that printer will have a MAC address. They're all going to have unique MAC addresses. And your home router, you know, if you've got an EE router or whatever, it kind of works a bit like a switch. It will also have a switch and wireless access point map capabilities in it. So it kind of works in a similar way, right? It's not actually a switch bit of hardware, but it can work in a similar fashion. So let's scroll down. I haven't done mesh network yet. Mesh networks. Right, so this, how am I going to draw this? I think it would be easier if I do something like this. They're all connected, right? So this one goes here and here and here and here, and this one goes here and here and here and here and here, and eventually, you know, you can start to see the pattern emerging here. They're all connected together, right? And then you've got your World Wide Web, sort of single device connected to the internet. So this one terminal is connected to the internet, and then World Wide Web, sorry, and then all of these others are connected to each other. So they can be used to connect small offices and entire cities even, okay? I mean, mesh networks can be huge. Wireless are most common, supporting traffic management, home automation systems, so the idea of the Internet of Things. You might hear this IoT, Internet of Things. So these could be huge, right? So what's an advantage? So it's robust, because, you know, finds different routes. There are so many different routes to get around. Like, you know, this one could take this route and then this route here, or it could take this route directly here. So there are, you can find different routes, so that's a positive. Data can be transferred to several devices simultaneously. Okay, so you can send to more than one devices. More than one device sent data same time. And local networks run faster than in a star network, because data does not have to travel via a central switch, because it can, you know, it's got so many choices for it to go. What are some disadvantages though? Expensive to set up this, and self-maintenance. You know, it's going to be difficult. Plus admin, the administration of it, and I'll also put here difficult to expand. Something like this, it's difficult to expand this network. So those are the three types of networks. Those are the three different types of network topologies. Let's have a look at some exam questions. Give two advantages of a bus network. Okay, so we talked about some advantages already. We talked about a bus network being simple to install and cost. Oh, sorry. I don't know why it's series come out. Low cost. So those would be advantages. What are two disadvantages? Well, we talked about the cable failure, didn't we? We talked about like the whole network stops if one cable is broken. Right, that's just a huge sticking point here. One cable failure could stop whole network running, right? Security risks. So we could talk about security. We could talk about only one device at a time. Can transmit. There's issues of data going back and forth down that line as well, which can sort of cause packets to be out of sync or missing. So there's plenty of disadvantages to put in there. Plenty. What's one disadvantage of using a star network? Well, a star network, we could say if the central device fails, because it requires a switch. So if central device switch fails, and they do sometimes fail, it could compromise the communication could fail as a result. Difficult to set up. Fixed number of connections. The switch might have a finite amount of places for it. So those are things you could put in here as one disadvantage. Let's have a look at this kind of annoying question. Okay, so give two reasons for using a star topology rather than a bus topology. Right. So what we can do here is remind ourselves what a star topology looks like. Draw the lines between the devices and label the unnamed device to show. So it would be helpful if they actually did it a bit like our star topology diagram, wouldn't it? And they haven't, which is what could throw you off. But the switch is the central thing, and that's going to go to all those devices. So I don't like this question because the way that they've sort of laid it out is kind of awkward. But the arrows and the label will give you those 2 marks. Give 2 reasons for using a star topology. Well, it's more scalable because you can add extra devices without disrupting the network. It's better than a bus network. It's more fault tolerant because a cable can be replaced without affecting other devices. Everything would else just work. If there's one cable that needs to be replaced, it would be fine. And easier to troubleshoot faults as well. And also you can handle high volumes of traffic. So there are quite a lot of advantages for using this star topology. So we'll put some of those in there. We'll put scalable, more so than a mesh network because it's cheaper. Scalable, easier to replace faulty cables, because if you've got one cable that's damaged, it doesn't really affect the rest of the network. And you can connect, as long as your switch has all as many points in it, you can connect more devices to it. So you might start off with 6 devices and end up with 18 by the end of the year. You see, it's easy to scale. Right, so let's have a look at this other question here. Draw lines between these devices to show a fully connected mesh network. So the important thing here is to remember that a mesh network is where they all speak to each other. So that's going to speak to that one, that one, that one, that one. There's all those paths. So the printer, you've already got one to the server, then one to the laptop, one to the smartphone. And the smartphone's already got connection to the printer and the server, so it needs one to the laptop. There you go. So each device has got a connection to each other directly. That's going to give you your 2 marks. All right, finally, a business employs 20 people. Let's have a little look. Each employee has a laptop. The business is relocating to a new office building. So what we're going to do, employees need access to resources and to connect to the internet. Discuss the type of network the business should install in its building. Your answer should include transmission. This is a 6 marker, right? Okay, and network topology. They do not need to consider costs. So, I think for this kind of question, I sort of just break it down. Each employee has a laptop. Okay, so they've all got their laptops. That's fine. Which are going to be easier to connect via wireless, aren't they? All laptops have wireless connections in there. So Wi-Fi is a must, isn't it? The business new office building needs to access resources and connect to the internet. Okay, right. So in terms of transmission, I think it would be prudent to say Ethernet connection. How could that be useful? Okay, wired. Okay, you could say wired. It's reliable. Because the cables that are used, right? These sort of Cat5e cables. They are shielded. They've got a special shielding around the sort of to stop interference. Shielded cables. Low latency. Okay, so there's less delay, if you like. Secure. Difficult to intercept. Okay, so because it's the data is going down a cable, isn't it? So, but one of the problems is can't move around. Obviously, it's going to be faster as well. An Ethernet connection. So wireless is going to be more flexible. It's going to be flexible. Users can move. move around. No wires, so better potentially health safety considerations, like there's no cables to worry about tripping over or anything like that. Additional users, easy to add because they can just be given the Wi-Fi password, can't they? You can get interference though, so any walls that are up is going to block the signals. That's a problem, so that's a disadvantage. Slows down if lots of people are using them. You know, slows down walls, right? Blind spots, like everyone's got a bedroom or some room in the house that doesn't get the internet very well, do they? So those are all, that's a sort of an overview of advantages and disadvantages of Ethernet and wireless. And a hybrid combination is probably the best, isn't it? So in terms of network topologies, I'd probably argue that a star network might be better because you can expand it more easily, and it's cost effective and secure. So I'd probably be talking about maybe a star network, but I have a feeling like this question doesn't really need you to go into like specifics of the differences between the topologies just to know about them, because all three could potentially be used for this scenario, whether it's bus, mesh or star. But I'd probably argue that star might be better for a small office. Good. I know there's lots to take in on that video, but this is a big one. It's worth understanding the topologies.